All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Chicago Business Review. I am your host, Young Lee, and we are so excited that you are joining us this week. Today, we have on the show Scott Grzesiak, one of my dear friends and the co-founder and executive director for GRIP Outreach for Youth. He has been doing this for over a decade. I first met him when he came to speak at our church a long time ago and presented this idea of life on life mentorship and ministry for the fatherless youth in the city of Chicago. And now we just had a virtual fundraiser for GRIP. And it was such an amazing blessing and such a great success to see. We will discuss all of those things and find out a little bit more about GRIP and Scott. So without further ado, let's welcome in Scott to the podcast. Hey, Scott.
Hey,
Good
hey.
to see you, my man.
Hey, Young. What a privilege it is to be here with you this afternoon.
Oh, my goodness. No, thank you so much for doing this. Like I mentioned before, you are one of my dear friends, but more than that, you are somebody that I look up to for the amazing things that you're doing, not only for the organization and your ministry, but also just for the youth in the city of Chicago and elsewhere. So I guess the first thing is, could you tell us a little bit about GRIP Outreach for Youth? Yeah.
Sure. Our mission at GRIP is to invest in the lives of Chicago youth here in our city through Christ-centered life-on-life relationships. And when we say Christ-centered life-on-life, we're really talking about really walking alongside of young people, not only in a program, maybe meeting them in a program or inside the Chicago public high schools, but then really building that relationship where it extends outside the walls of a program. And as you're going, shopping, or you're going to the bank, or you're going to the store, or you're going to cook some food up for some friends and family, or going to church, or maybe going to play ball or watch a game, you bring a young person with you and you start to do life with them. To mentor them really and show them and model for them that there's maybe a different way that as they're growing up, there might be a different way to live than maybe what they're seeing from their peers around them or from what's going on the streets of the city. And so really that's what we do at GRIP Outreach for Youth. We train up adults. We have an army of adults. We connect them with kids through a SLAM outreach program, or we place adults as volunteers inside the Chicago public high schools. And really all for the main goal is to build relationships with youth and their families, and then just to start walking life with them. And that's what we do. We're a Christ-centered organization. So we saw this modeled out when Jesus walked. He actually walked with 12 dudes. And they went everywhere with him, whether he was going to teach or preach or heal or whatever Jesus was doing. They were with him 24/7. And so really that's the model that we have to share with people as mentors, as adults. Hey, would you open up your life, your dinner table to a young person?
That's awesome. And of course, I've been a big fan of the organization and what you guys have been doing for a number of years, but I'm so glad that we're able to share that with the people that are listening and or watching. Now, I know you had an MBA from the University of Chicago, which is one of the great learning institutions, not only in this country, but in the world. And you were in marketing, and you had so many other jobs. How did you decide to make that shift from what the world might view as successful to venture off into starting or helping start up this organization?
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe, At least for me personally, I got my career. I got started actually going to Japan. In the 70s and the 80s, the Japanese companies were buying up everything in the US, and there was this race for technology and semiconductors and whatnot, the production and manufacturing of those. And so when I was coming up as a young buck, I wanted to be in the mix of that. And so I started studying Japanese. I actually started my career in Japan. I lived there for 4 years. And I came back and I got an MBA and all of those things. And so, really, for me as a young man at that time, I was really living for maybe all of the wrong reasons. In that I was I was very ambitious, and I was seeking after corporate status, power, money. And of course, when I was a young man, I discovered women, and so I was chasing women, and wanted to really live for myself in that regard. And and when I was 28 years old, I came to faith in Christ in a very radical way. I met Jesus in a very radical way, and he basically took my economy and flipped it upside down. And so the hope then was that he would use the business career that he had given me the path and the privilege to go to such a school as the University of Chicago, that he would use that and make a way for me to actually pour into young folks in the city of Chicago. And so that's what we've been doing ever since. So we actually started an outreach program in 1999. So we've actually been doing this outreach program for 2 decades. And we've been slowly building up our organization to try to reach more young people, and not only reach them to mentor them, but then also to help prepare them for adulthood. So we want them to grow holistically in their faith, of course, and in academically, and then we want to prepare them for adulthood. And so we have a program that we layer on top called Future Steps. We're hoping to get young people jobs, job experiences, internships, exposure to different industries, trying to educate them about how to save money and how to put a budget together and how to prioritize time as an adult as they grow into adulthood. So really they can start being prepared to care for their family and for their future. And so that's just a passion of ours here. And so anyway, I would just say that I was going one direction and moving for all the wrong reasons. And then I met the Lord in a radical way, and he basically took all of that and just moved it in another direction by the grace of God. And it's been a privilege, real privilege.
That's incredible. So, and now I know we are over 20 years in with the organization, and you guys have done such amazing things. It started out with SLAM, which is that outreach program that you're talking about, where kids from the inner cities can come and play games and just hear a message and just be around other people and leaders that love and care for them. Of course, you could have gone into a lot of different ministries. Why focus on inner city youth and the fatherless youth? Like, where did that come about from?
Yeah, I grew up, my dad left our home when I was 4, back in the very early 70s. It was kind of rare at that time. Divorce wasn't very common in the community that I was growing up in. I always had a burden for young people that grew up in homes without their fathers, right? And so I would say that when I came to faith and I wanted to start to get involved and serve, I was looking for where I can get involved. And somebody invited me to a fundraising event, and they were actually teaching. My cousin was teaching school inside Cabrini Green. At the local grammar school there. And she just started to tell me all the stories of the young people there and all of maybe the trauma that they had faced in their lives, growing up socioeconomically challenged, in poverty, or growing up around addiction to maybe some drugs or alcohol, or maybe having siblings or family members incarcerated. But what really struck me was the number of students that were growing up in a fatherless home. And so that the Lord used that to stir in my heart, and brought up my past. And I had some other addictions as well. Growing up as a young man, at the age of 11, I discovered pornography, that I could view that every night for a couple hours in my home, and found a way to do that, and just got addicted to all of that encompasses, and just struggled with lust through almost all of my teen years into my early 20s, and until that time that I came to faith, and was freed of that. And so when I started to volunteer in Cabrini Green to play basketball with some young guys and start to mentor them, a lot of them came from fatherless homes. A lot of them had immediate access to things like pornography, and were very sexually active, and they were struggling in their academics, and they loved basketball. And so we had some things in common. And so I stepped out to serve on day one, God started to grow my heart, and just give me more of a vision for what it could look like to get more adults involved and trained up and encouraged. And we really created an organization because many of the adults, when we started the outreach program, we did some recruiting and training. We'd go to local churches throughout the city to raise up people. And we found that the adults would just quit soon thereafter, because it's really, really a challenging ministry. And their expectations, they were coming in with all these expectations that they were going to save young people, and they would come in with expectations that, they would be best friends with the student that they were pouring into in no time. And their expectations were like way over here, and their experience was way over here. And we call that the quick gap, when your expectations and your experiences, they're so far apart. And so we realized that we needed to do a much better job and build an organization around training and equipping and continuing to coach and walk with the adults, so that they would be encouraged and they wouldn't burn out, or they wouldn't quit when they don't see the results in the time that they want to see it. And quite honestly, the young folks, at least when we first started in the Cabrini Green neighborhood, man, they've seen people, especially the church, people come into the neighborhood and just leave, and come and go, and come and go. And so it was time for young folks to see people come and share their faith, but also then stay and live it out before them. And there's a big difference there if you're willing to stay and tough it out when things get difficult. And it's really hard outside of having those expectations set, and outside of a community to help support that. So we pour into not only young people, but we pour into the adults that are serving as well. It's very, very important.
That's so incredible. And I know we've had conversations over the years, and I have mentioned to you as well that my father left us when I was 4. And so I also have a passion for fatherless youth. And luckily I've had great role models and mentors in my life that have poured into me to help me get to where I am. And of course, my mother always praying over me and my brother. So by the grace of God, we are here living a life that, we're blessed to have. And so it is amazing to see, though, that you keep giving back to the community, and that's how you got into it. Now, you mentioned a couple things.
I just want to stop you. Like, people are like, man, you gave up an MBA and this career. And I'm just like, no, it's not like that at all. Not a single day has gone by that I'm like, wow, look at what I get. No, it's not. It's been an absolute privilege to be a part of God's plan. And, I'm just a small, we're all, his creation, and we're all a small part of his bigger plan. And so for me, I never think about it that way, or, and I just try to let people know it's been a joy and a privilege. And so for whatever that's worth.
I appreciate that you shared that, because I would imagine a lot of people that are going to listen and or watch this are going to be kind of stuck on that decision that you made. And it's not maybe the most logical decision, but the decision to follow Christ, that's not a logical decision. But to see you live it out, to see you committed to the cause of what you guys are trying to do, to really build up the youth in the city of Chicago, and now seeing the people that you guys have poured into years ago also become mentors and become part of the staff, and then continue on in that cycle has been, I think, one of the most encouraging things for me, being a part of it for a number of years like this. So I really wanted to commend you on that. Now, I know it is a ministry that you guys are working, but at the same time, in order for you to grow and expand and attract more people, there has to be some sort of order and structure and things like that. How do you guys make your decisions in terms of like expanding into the schools or things like that? Is it something that you decide? Is there a group of people? Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I would say that, man, the Lord has been gracious with that. Many of the things that we do, we feel have been Holy Spirit led. In that, when I left the marketplace to come and start a 501c3 called GRIP back in 2004, I put together a 5-year business plan for ministry, and so 5 years into that, we looked at that plan and we were like, wow. We had the same number of, it was incredible. We had about the same number of staff as the 5-year plan called for. And we had about the amount that the budget grew about that. But the way that we were going about the ministry looked very different than what I put down on paper. In fact, a couple of years after that, or in that direction, around 2009, 2010, we actually onboarded a young man to help us build out the scriptures to hip hop music, word for word, because we were finding that as we were trying to get young people into the Word of God and study the Bible together, so that they can see that there might be some encouragement in that on how to live their lives. Many of the young people that we were meeting were illiterate to semi-illiterate, and that they couldn't actually read at the 8th grade level, which would be required of particular translations of the Bible for them to be able to internalize that. So we took a left turn. Instead of expanding more outreach, we said, look, this is kind of an integral part of this, and we need to actually have this as a part of Life on Life for our young people to actually grow spiritually and emotionally. And so we decided to invest in creating that, and that's called Streetlights. We spun it off. It's now its own separate 501c3. There's an app, a free app. It's free.
That's right.
So nobody's making a ton of money on that, but it's being used all over the country, and if not the world, for young people that could listen to the scriptures, intake the scriptures, as well as read at the same time they're reading. And it's put to hip hop music in the backdrop, and which is the language of a lot of our young people. So that's just an example of, man, I didn't foresee that back in 2004 when we incorporated, and now that's its own thing. They're doing a Spanish version. They're doing some African languages. It's just been amazing where God has taken that, and Esteban Shed and the Streetlights team. And so I would just say that, we have a group of frontline pastoral ministers that are in the neighborhoods doing ministry in the schools. We come, every week, and we chop it up, and then we once a year go off and we plan and we say, okay, where is the Lord taking us? And they have their input into that. And then we have a board that we're accountable to make sure that we're actually accomplishing the mission. And we would present, those goals and those ideas that we have, and then we put a dollar amount, a budget together, and they approve that, and then we try to execute as best we can. And so we've seen the Lord, move us in different directions from time to time, but that's really at His hand. But I would say our team here does a great job of seeing what's on the ground, seeing what the needs are, and we try to incorporate that and make adjustments as we go.
That's
I don't know if I answered
incredible.
your question.
No, yeah, no. I saw like a couple things that I took away from that is that it's so important to have a plan,
Yeah.
to have it written out, to have goals so that you know the direction at which you want to go. Sometimes it doesn't
Absolutely.
work out exactly the way you planned it
Mhm.
because ultimately we are not in control. But without having that plan, you're really kind of rudderless, no matter what organization you're trying to run or help navigate. And then the other thing that I took away from what you just said is it's so important to find great people
That's
that
right.
you can rely on and work with because a lot of times it's difficult for just one person to try and have a vision or a lot of times my mentor says to me sometimes you need outside eyes or it's hard to read the label from inside the bottle. So it's very important to have that group of people that are contributing, that are helping navigate. And that's amazing that you guys had a 5-year plan and everything kind of worked out that way. But you guys still every year work on planning, work on a budget, work on which direction you want it to grow. And
Yep.
from there, you guys were able to start Streetlights, which like Scott was saying, you can download that app for free on any app store. So please go and check it out. It is amazing. Amazing. I have it on my phone. Maybe I'll try to show you guys in a little bit, but incredible work that
But
Esteban is doing. I mean,
no
amazing.
doubt, no doubt. But
Seriously.
Young, just to kind of hammer that point home, when COVID hit, our outreach to our youth called Slam that we've been doing for 20 years, we just were ready to replicate that in Austin, and we're hoping to have Slam events all over the city. And a Slam event would look like maybe 100 to 125 teenagers coming together with 100 to 125 adults. And so you got 250 people in a building that are moving around, very, very carefully mapped out, and carefully designed, a program that's, there's not a lot of just, hey, just we'll wing it tonight. We plan out every detail and how kids are going to move, even transition in the hallways. So you got a lot of hype, a lot of energy, a lot of games, a lot of team building, a lot of teaching, a lot of small group discussions. And so all of that's coordinated really well. COVID hit, and all of a sudden, what do you do? Because you can't have 250 people in one place. And what does that look like? And so really, our team here, I didn't come up and redesign things. Our team here came up with a plan. And so now we've broken that up into 5 locations. And so we've had, 15 to 20 students with 15 to 20, adults. And now we were just told, as of early as a couple of days ago, that it has to be 25 or less in a room. And now we're like, okay, so maybe we have to add some more locations and get smaller. But we don't want to stop running after life on life with our students, because we know that there's going to be a grave, grave cost to that as well. And so we need to continue to pursue young people, and especially for their education. No CPS right now is it's not a good plan for a lot of our students. They don't have the environment to actually do well on their own. And so in any event, we're trying to get after it. But that was a great example of how our team really mobilized, put their best thoughts together, put a plan together, and have adjusted. And even again, this last week, we're like, okay, let's turn. All right.
Yeah.
What are you doing in and through this? And so we're just trying to continue to get after that. But what you said is very true. It's got to be a team of people, and that you lean on, and constantly have them get their feedback and what they see, and then have that help inform the plan moving forward.
Yeah. No, everyone that I interact with at Grip is just so impressive in what they're doing. But I think it's the focus on the main goal. So it's like you guys have a clear goal and objective. And that's why, like, even when COVID hits or quarantine or, limiting the size of gatherings, because you have such clarity in what you want to achieve, you're able to pivot, you're able to navigate around it. Of course, it's not easy. I can't imagine how difficult it's been for you guys over the last year, but to see you guys continually stay focused, because I would imagine if you didn't have that clarity of focus, some of these things might knock you off and you'd be like, you know what, maybe we wait it out. But it's the cadence at which you try and invest in these children or these teenagers or young adults over time is what builds that relationship. And so kudos to you guys for constantly figuring out new innovative ways that you can still invest in these kids. Because you were mentioning CPS, which for people that don't know, Chicago public schools are closed. And so a lot of these youth, now they have nowhere to go or they don't have internet access. And so it's so much more critical that people are there to invest, to really be there for them so that they know, like, when times are tough, I can lean on or I can rely on this person. And that's why that mentorship thing that you guys do, not only for the students, but I know you guys also do that for the leaders, where like you're constantly investing in the leadership so that they don't get burned out, because it is exhausting, no matter who you are, to consistently do anything for an extended period of time. So that's one of the great things that you guys do, is you invest not only in the youth, but that you invest in the leaders that are investing in the youth, so that no one burns out and that they feel like they're a part of something greater than themselves. So amazing.
We try. Yeah, we try. But I would just say that whether you're in a ministry like ours full time, or whether you're in real estate, or whether you're working for Google, or all of that, I believe is a part of God. Building the kingdom. It's all a part of investing in God's plan. And there's people at Google, and there's people, as you're going around selling real estate, that need to be loved on and need to be ministered to. And so those are all ministries in my mind. And so, the scriptures are real clear. Work as if you're working unto the Lord, as if you're serving the Lord with excellence, right? And so that applies to all of us, and to really put everything wherever the Lord has us in our vocation, in our homes. That we're to do that as if we're serving the Lord. And I think that has to be the perspective, not only for us here at Grip, but for you as you're in the real estate industry, or for the people that might be watching this, that might be teachers or lawyers or business folks. I think that's very, very applicable.
No, that's such a great point, and that you're in the spot that you're in for a reason. So just understand that, and understand that no matter where you're at right now, if you give your all, if you're always striving to do the best that you can, you will find benefit in that. You will be rewarded, maybe not financially or the way that you think, but you might have a major impact on someone else's life that you encounter, that then goes on to do amazing things as well. So it's never like, oh, I can't have impact. Oh, I'm too low in the organization. Oh, I don't have an important job. So whoever you are, when you work with excellence, like you were saying, you will inevitably have impact, because you are there for a reason. You are doing what you are doing for a reason. So thank you so much for sharing that, my man. Another thing is, you said every year you guys set like a plan, you guys make a budget just like any other organization.
Right.
And then you, because you are a 503c charity.
That's right.
Yes.
501c3.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. So then you have to figure out how to fund that budget. So every year you guys have great fundraisers or gatherings, golf outings, things like that to get people involved. This year, we weren't able to do the big grip gala where you have just an amazing setup and structure, and hundreds of people come and gather and they get to interact with one another, hear amazing speakers, watch great entertainment, and bid on auction items. This year, you were not able to do that. So, can you share a little bit about how you guys pivoted and what the outcome was for that?
Yeah, so we, well, this is new territory for all nonprofits. So we couldn't gather as we love to be life on life with students, and then with our volunteers who are pouring into the students. We love to be life on life with the people that support us, our financial partners. And, Young, you've been a part of GRIP. So the way that we view it is, if you're a financial partner, you're as much a part of this ministry as I am, or if any of our pastoral staff or our office manager. We're all on the team, and we couldn't do what we do without people to come alongside of us financially. And so our financial partners, this is their ministry as much as it is ours. And so how do you then connect with people? And so what we asked people to do was, where they felt comfortable in their COVID bubble, is to maybe invite a couple over for dinner, or a couple couples in the backyard, socially distanced, and maybe set up a TV in your backyard. And what we did a virtual gala, and so we had, by God's grace, we had people from not only the Chicagoland area, but we had people from around the country come and view that, and they were able to give. We did a live feed, and tried to emulate what we would do in a gala event, and people just gave generously. So we we thought it was really, really important for people to get together, even amidst COVID, and do that as comfortably and as safely as people felt that was wise to do that, and adhere to all the guidelines that the government has given us. But there's something unique about breaking bread together and engaging even the screen, as a group of people in community, as opposed to just sitting at home by yourself remotely. And I would say that about more than half of our viewers did that, and they had just an amazing time in community, participating and watching us raise money. We had a thermometer and we watched it go up, and we had $1 million goal. Which we kind of brought it down from years past, because we're like, it's COVID. We don't know if people, if they have money left to give, if they're struggling, if they lost their job, and God just like crushed that goal, and he stirred in people's hearts, and we raised well above it. And so for us, that was our approach. So I don't know if you have any other specific questions around that, but it was really cool to see people rally around our ministry, and be ambassadors and invite people into their homes to actually usher them into the ministry. So, like, Young, that you were a part of doing that, and so we couldn't do it without people then being ambassadors for us. And again, it's about a part of building a team, and it was great. I think we had 1,500 people, and maybe 144 cities.
That's incredible, man. That was incredible.
Talking about, Schaumburg is a city, and is a city. But it was kind of neat to kind of see that, and
so hopeful. I mean, I'm hoping, just for selfish reasons, that when things get back to normal, that the gala will resume, or are you guys gonna continue the virtual thing, or maybe both?
Take a step backwards, right? So they just shut down public or restaurant eating altogether. So we really don't know what to expect. We were hoping to get back to our normal April gala, and we'll just have to see what the Lord has planned for us. We might be doing another virtual gala next year. We only want to ask people once a year. We don't want to be having 2 events a year, and so that's not our intention. But But I think at our gala this last year, we raised 60% of our annual budget. And so it's a big deal to us. And so for whatever that's worth, well, we'll have to see.
No, that's incredible. Now, if people are listening and watching, um, how could they support you guys? Like, can they donate like on your website?
Yeah, so absolutely. So our burden is still to raise the other 40% of, our fiscal year will end it ends June. So we go to July to June. And so my role and some of the other folks here, our role is to make sure that we get funded for that so we can keep going. So if you'd like to partner with us financially, you can go to www.griputh, GRIPYOUTH, griputh.com, and or griputh.com/give. And there's a place where you can sign up as a monthly donor, or you can sign up to give a one-time gift at any dollar amount. But that's pretty much the easiest way to get connected on the financial partnership side of things. You can also go there and contact us if you want to join our prayer team and pray for the ministry. And if you'd like to volunteer for the ministry, you can also contact us via the website at www.griputh.com. And then you can, we'll contact you. If you contact us via the website, we'll be in touch with you to volunteer, to pray, or to give.
That's awesome. And we'll have the website link in the show notes. So please, if you can, just go check out the website. You can see a little bit more in detail of all of the different things that they are doing. And like I had mentioned too, it has a very special place in my heart. And so please check out the website. If you can give, please try to help out. And if not, like Scott was saying, even prayer partners or volunteering, all of those things are equally as important. So please go check out the website, www.griputh.com. And then we briefly touched on it, Scott, but you guys have had Slam, which is the gathering of all the youth, and they come once a week and they play games and they interact and they have leaders there and they have small group. They hear a message, amazing. And then you guys have awesome music throughout, just an amazing energy. But you did mention that you guys do some other things as well, like in the schools as well as the Next Steps type program. Could you elaborate on those two programs?
Sure. So we're currently looking for remote learning tutors to help encourage young people as they're taking their online classes and then having to do homework on the other side of that. So where previously we would place people inside of the Chicago public high schools as volunteers, as tutors, teacher aides. We can't do that now because the Chicago public schools are all closed. But every day here in the office, we've opened up our office and we have desks and chairs and we have students and their mentors kind of coming through to help them in their day-to-day learning. And so if that's of interest to you, we don't have enough. We can always take more tutors on if you'd like to volunteer in that capacity. And if you're a business owner or a manager of a business and have the authority to help put into place an internship or a job for young people, you can be a part of our Future Steps program. And we love our young people are constantly looking for work opportunities, and we need to give them exposure to different industries and different opportunities, and then we need to train them and equip them and build up their work ethic. And then of course, we need to actually give them real life experiences. And so we have several business owners that have given out 3-month apprenticeships or internships, and others that have given full-time jobs. And it's just been amazing as you watch a young person's worldview just open and as they get to experience different things. So if you're a business owner or a manager, please contact us if you'd like to get a young person a job.
Yeah, no, being able to hear some of the testimonies and success stories of that program. And again, what we were saying earlier is that, oh, you know what, maybe I I'm not as impactful, or oh, all I can do is offer a internship or something like that. Like that impact on another person's life is so dramatic, and you can't
Oh,
underestimate that.
and
So
we also have our first scholarship fund was created this year. We actually helped to fill the financial gap for 4 students as we sent them off to college. And so if you'd like to participate in that way, that would be fantastic as well. We'd like to grow that fund and double the number of students that we've sent this next year. So
amazing. So like, how do you guys think of what programs to do next? I mean, there's so much need out there, but like, how do you guys prioritize? Like, okay, next we want to do this. Next we want to do this.
yeah, I mean it's always a challenge, right? As the next dollar comes into the organization, what do we do? Do we give our staff a raise because they don't make market value, or do we try to open up a new SLAM site, or do we send more students to college? You know, those are always going to be very difficult challenges, and that's a part of our planning process in the year. We literally go off. We get out of the city with our team, and we go on a 3-4 day retreat, seek the Lord, and then we start to put plans together. And then over the course of the next 2 months, we kind of hone in on what goals we'd like to achieve for the year. And then we have to start working on putting a dollar amount to that as we put together the budget. So literally from late January, early February to our new year, July 1st, we have to put those plans together, put dollars to that, tweak those things, bring those to the board, see if that's approve worthy, right? And then kind of go back and forth, and then have something up and running by July. So those are some of the biggest burdens that I have. It's like, wow, okay, with this next dollar, where do we invest? And so that's where you have the wisdom of a team of people that know what our kids need, and then you also have then another team of people that could, at a high level, have oversight of that and just make sure that we're doing what we said we're going to do, and make sure that we're stewarding over the finances like we said we were going to steward, and that's pretty much how we put those things together. The greatest example I could give is we had a big heart to have multiple outreach locations a couple of years ago, and we're like, but we also realized that the students that were growing in their faith as they were graduating high school, some of them had mentors like you, Young, that would help prepare them for the business world, and they're, how to get a job or how to get off to college, and you'd help them shake hands and look someone in the eyes and say, squeeze harder, and you'd help them put together a resume. But in other cases, in some instances, the mentor might have moved to Boston to take a job, and there wasn't a mentor there to help, when that student was 19 or 20, and they didn't have the skills necessarily to go. And so we were seeing some of those students fall off. And so we said, well, you know what? Systemically, we need to systematically maybe help prepare all of our students for adulthood, and we need to do a better job of that. And so that's why we invested in Future Steps a couple of years ago. And so we said we have to, the youth that we have in our sites, we just need to do a better job of preparing them all the way into adulthood as they grow, before we continue to expand in the number of students that we're outreaching or reaching out to. And so that comes through prayer and wrestle, and there's no simple easy solution to those things.
Yeah, no, I'm just so amazed at all the at the great things that you guys are doing. Now, growing up, did you have a mentor, or like even now, is there people that you look to for guidance, or how did that mentorship thing
Growing
kind of
up
come about?
was a little bit difficult, which is why until I was 28, I got myself into so much trouble, and I created so much trouble. I would say that God has put men in my life, and brothers in my life that I'm doing life on life with. And so I got a couple of brothers that when it hits the fan for me, they know it, and they're praying for me, and they're encouraging me. And then when it hits the fan for them, I'm praying for them, and I'm over at their house and trying to lift them up. And so it's been a mutual journey. But I would say that having men, if you're a dude, having men in your life that will speak into you, that don't know just a little bit of your story, right? Because we tend to do that as men. We like tell this person this slice, and this person gets this slice, and nobody really knows all of us, right? And so I would say intimacy in that regard, in relationship, is absolutely essential to have 2 or 3 men that really know all of you at a minimum. And so when you're going through times of joy, you're sharing that with them. And then when you're going through really tough seasons, you're sharing that with them, and then they can be pointing you to God's word, and they could be encouraging you and walking with you and stirring you up. And so I think that's so important. And if you're a dudette, like my wife has some ladies in her life and they're doing the same thing. They're walking. That's why we believe in life on life. We don't believe in a life that's isolated. It doesn't honor God if you're isolated, that you just have this exterior shell, and, Facebook, everybody's smiling, and, that's not life, and that's not real. And so, we are big believers in walking openly in life on life relationships, not just for our students, but for us as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I feel like what you said there in terms of transparency, in terms of investing in other people and having those people also invest in you is so critical, not only in ministry, but in business, in any endeavor that you are trying to do. You cannot do it all on your own. So make sure that you're always seeking out people in your life that will pour wisdom and guidance, but also love and compassion into your life. Without that, it is so much more difficult to try and figure it out on your own. So
that's right. Yeah, because we're gonna fail. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna fail many times over. We're gonna fail in our relationships with our spouses. We're gonna fail in our friendships. We're gonna fail as business leaders or ministry leaders. We're gonna fall short of the glory of God, not just once, but many times. And that's why God says, continue to meet together, continue to spur each other on, continue to speak a word and exhort one another. And so that's what we're called to do. And so, yeah, there you have it.
That's awesome, man. I know I've kept you for quite some time, so we'll be wrapping up here shortly, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate the time, and also you in my life. You are one of those people that always reaches out to me and pours into me. So thank you so much for that, man. But for our listeners, what's maybe something that people might not know about you, Scott? Like either a guilty pleasure or something that's just a little weird that people are like, oh, I would never have thought that about Scott. So.
Man, well, I'll tell you, man, my wife has been a gift to me. If you haven't met her, man, she is just, I don't deserve my wife. I don't know how that happened, but God definitely answered a prayer for me to put her in my life. And I would say that the thing that we really enjoy to do, because we're old and we have 5 kids, we have a lot of energy, but we love to have another couple over at our house, or we can go over to their house now since we have built-in babysitters and our kids.
That's right.
We love a good glass of Cabernet, from California or from Washington State. I believe that Jesus's first miracle was a Napa cab, turned water into Napa cab. But that's really, on a night we might, my wife and I might open up a bottle, and we drink like half. My wife barely drinks a glass, and then I drink a couple of glasses. We cork it up and we finish the bottle the next day. So if you ever want to have us over, if you have some great bottle of wine, we would love to participate with that, participate in that with you. And if you just want to send one over to us, you can do that too.
That's right.
we need to do that in fellowship, right? In
That,
relationship.
yeah, no, Scott has
Yeah.
so much knowledge. He did a wine tasting event for us, and just the amount of knowledge that you have about wine was incredible, man. And yet it was such a great night. And again, a night where we got to fellowship, we got to just hang out and just enjoy one another's company. A lot of people have this misconception that, like, oh, if you are in ministry or if you are uh, trying to grow God's kingdom, that like it's no fun. You can't have any enjoyment, like all of these things. And we had such a great time
Amen.
tasting wine and just enjoying one another's company and learning about wine. And so, yes, that is one amazing thing that I did not know about Scott, is that he is a wine connoisseur. So you guys have a great bottle of wine, send
Yeah,
it
that's
his
not
way.
true. But really though, we really value that time because it's really about building relationships, and so and that's really what all of that is for, is really to do that with people, and we just enjoy it, you know. So
Oh,
glory to God.
yeah, man. Scott, once again, thank you so much for being on this week's episode of Chicago Business Review. Please check out their website, gripyouth.com. And there you'll be able to see information about SLAM, about future steps, about the ministry where they're going into the Chicago public schools to provide mentorship and tutoring. And if you guys can help in any way, please reach out to them. They'd be happy to discuss with you and see how you can partner with them. It is an amazing organization. They are genuinely changing the trajectory of people's lives by investing in their lives one-on-one and as small groups gathering. And then you're seeing that cycle perpetuate, and more of those people are now investing in more people. And that's how you make an impact. So thank you so much, Scott, for all you're doing, not only for the city of Chicago, for the youth here, but all across. And then, and also download the app. Oh my
Streetlights.
goodness.
Streetlights.
Streetlights, yes. Download the app Streetlights. Check it out. It is incredible. The music is amazing. The people that they get to read and or produce the music is just such talented individuals, and just a great way to consume the word. So check that out as well. And please check out the site. Scott, thank you so much, my man. And if you guys like this episode, please leave us a comment or leave us a review and mention Scott or Grip, and we will make sure that we get you out some sort of Grip swag or things like that. So please share this episode with somebody that you feel like might benefit or can help by donating their time or their resources. We cannot do this alone. And so please, please, please check out the website, www.gripyouth.com. Scott, thanks so much again for being a guest this week, my man. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you guys for listening. We appreciate your support. And we'll see you next time on the Chicago Business Review.
All right. Hey.